This is Jordan from Belated, and you're listening to my chapter of As the Story Grows.
Welcome to the next chapter of As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. This week, Jordon Ronan, aka Belated, joins the podcast. Belated is a new pop act with Common Ground Collective. Back in April, he dropped his second single, Better Things, which is from his upcoming, yet-to-be-announced EP. Jordon talks about the influence of Christian pop-punk on his early years, not wanting to be a guitar guy, and hoping to leave angst behind him. This was a fun chat, and I hope you guys enjoy getting to know Belated.
I've been sleeping in most days on the same bed where we used to lay. You never will again. It's so strange how fast things change. My blue eyes now projecting gray when I open the curtain. Now I'm trying times to keep my pulse to beat inside despite my discontentment. Now I'm trying times to keep my pulse to beat inside despite.
I saw your Bandcamp page. It said Washington, D.C. is your location. Is that where you're currently located?
No, that's where I was located up until like the end of March.
Okay.
Or no, the beginning of March. I moved out the end of February. So right now I live like temporarily living where I like grew up basically, which is just like the boonies kind of. So it's interesting.
The boonies
Big
of
shit.
Where?
Southwest Virginia.
Southwest Virginia. Awesome. So that's
About
where you're
4
from.
hours away.
Why the transition out of DC?
So like I had been working there like straight out of college. I graduated in 2019 and I got an internship in DC. And so I worked there for like, I guess like a year and a half, and my lease ran up and I got let go and I really hated it there anyway. So I was just like, you know what, now's a good time with the lease ending. You know, I can just like, I'm living rent free in my parents' house. So, you know, it was just like the timing was right. I'm pursuing this, and just everything kind of was like, yeah, this is the move.
That makes sense. I'm moving back to DC in a month, so.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
man, that would have been way cool if we actually could have hung there.
Yeah. It's where I'm from, so I'm.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm excited to move back. I've been in Philly for 6 years, and Philadelphia's great.
Wow.
But I miss DC. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was like cool. And I had come from this very small town, so it was like a big difference. But I don't know. It's also, it's like so like politics themed, and I don't want to work in politics, and so I was like, I don't really need to be in this city, and it doesn't really make sense in terms of like from a music perspective, like the 930 Club was like sick and going to shows there and everything, but obviously a lot of the time I was living there, COVID was going on. So it was, it got a lot less fun pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure. You grew up in the boonies of Southwest Virginia. What was that like?
Well, like I actually moved the town that I'm in right now, and where I've lived in since I was 10 is called Floyd, Virginia. And it's like very small, like everybody knows everybody. And if they don't know you, they'll like find out about you very quick. But it was interesting also coming here from, I lived in Massachusetts, just kind of suburbs until I was 10. And so like even though I wasn't living in Boston or anything, coming into this really small town, it was still like just going from the north to kind of like the south was pretty like different. Like I remember like having like a very good childhood in Massachusetts, like was very popular and like just very confident, like everything was great. And then getting to Floyd and being an outcast kind of immediately, and just like it was like, yeah, it was a interesting transition. And then I was there from 10 to 18 when I graduated high school.
Yeah.
And then now I'm 25 and I'm back here for some reason.
What got you into music?
So I come from a family of 7. So I have 3 sisters, I have a brother, and then my parents, they're still together and everything. And I have a brother that's 15 years older than me. So that's kind of like interesting, but like I was really young and he was already, you know, starting to like do his own stuff. And so from a very young age, I was like exposed to like alternative music. Like I would say like younger than I would say probably most people get into it because of that. Like just having someone that much older that I, you know, lived in the same house as and everything. And so like very young, I was listening to, I think maybe MXPX was like my first favorite band.
All right.
Because like I was raised Christian, my whole family was, and so like from a very, I'm not anymore, but from a very young age, I was like, it was like tooth and nail bands and like, you know, whatever my brother was listening to, I was going to listen to. So it was like MXPX, Slick Shoes, Reliant K, stuff like that. And I was, you know, like less than 10. Yeah. Like, and, so that was like such a big influence early on, just like guitar music, as opposed to just listening to like Kids Bop, if that was a thing at the time, or like whatever was on the radio. And then he actually ended up starting a like Christian pop punk post hardcore label too.
Oh, really?
So like I was exposed to like the music business or music industry side, like really young. It was called Blue Duck Records. And like he did like put together like a Warped sampler that had like definitely like a bunch of bands that you would know if you were like in that scene at the time. And I would go to festivals. Like there was one called Purple Door Fest in New Hampshire, and even just around here. And it might have been like a traveling thing, but there was a thing called Winter Jam.
Yeah.
Where like, okay, yeah, it was like so cheap, and you could go and see like the sicker like Christian pop punk bands like like Skillet and Hawk Nelson and stuff like that. And so yeah, I definitely was like, music had made its impact on me at like a very early age, to the point where like I knew I like wanted to be, you know, involved in some way, because I was like obsessed with it. And you know, just the way that alternative music tends to like resonate a little more, I guess, like, I don't know, it for some reason, like it just seems that way, that alternative music like resonates more with its fans than like, you know, some of the more vague stuff like on the radio. So yeah, very like at a young age, I felt connected to alternative music. I did put together some notes because I just like, I wanted to like have my kind of like stuff figured out.
Sure.
Because I'm a fan of the show. So
thank you.
I've listened, you know, it's like, it was cool when I got on Common Ground and started seeing like all the bands that you would talk to from there. And so like, I've gotten to learn about them just through that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. But I got like a Fender, Squire or whatever, like at a pretty young age. And it didn't really catch on. I was kind of like a kid that was like, I want a guitar. And then you get it. And then you're like, how do I play songs like right now? And it's like, oh, that's not actually how it works. And it's like, oh, well, I was misled. Like I thought this. So it kind of went like untouched for a little while, but eventually I learned, you know, like some basic chords and stuff, because I always wanted to like write songs. Like I wanted to be a songwriter. That was like, it was more important to me than like doing covers and stuff. Oh, I also have to shout out Newfound Glory, just because like they were so like crucial to me, like from a very young age. Like I wanted to, you know, be their lead singer, Jordan Pundick. And I was like, same name, you know, it's destined. You can really convince yourself of anything when you're like young. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent.
No, it's fine.
I think you just asked me what got me into music, but if you put all that together, I'd say that's probably where it comes from.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So guitar didn't work out. Did you try a different instrument? You were just like, well, I'm going to be the vocalist then. Did you know you could sing? Like,
like I had wanted to sing before I'd even wanted to play guitar.
Okay.
But, you know, I think I was seeing music videos, cause you know, like I was born in 95. So like there were still some music videos like on MTV.
Yeah. I
remember very specifically, the Jimmy Eat World, the Middle music video, and like trying to hide the fact that I was watching it, cause it has like, like naked people or like everyone's at this party in their underwear. And I'm like, I should not be watching this.
Hilarious.
But I was seeing a lot of, you know, pop punk and alternative music singers playing guitar at the same time. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. I want to do that too. But yeah, singing was definitely like the thing I was most interested in. I didn't really get into any other instruments. I did like a band in like elementary school. So I did like a year of trombone. And then I really wanted to do percussion because, you know, they're like drums are in pop punk bands too. Yeah. But obviously it's very different. And like they want us doing like paradiddles and stuff. And I wasn't very good at it. I wanted to be behind like a set and just like wailing on stuff. But so yeah, I never really got into another instrument, and honestly I never like was fascinated with the guitar in the same way that I was like obsessed with singing or writing. So even still, I'm not like, I would not call myself an instrumentalist like at all. It's just like basic chords. Yeah. And I think that I just, you know, I've listened to music like for so long and knowing that I wanted to make it myself that, I don't know, so far, like it hasn't hurt me too much that I can't really play an instrument that well.
That's cool. Do you think, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Do you think your ability musically has influenced the direction your sound has gone, or is that unrelated?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a way it kind of had to, especially like when I had like even like, you know, less resources. Like the first couple things that I ever recorded, maybe the first thing was like in 6th grade or something. And I went to a studio and I had someone play acoustic guitar to like of Hey There Delilah, and I sang over it. And then the other song was like one that me and my friend had come up with, just like some stupid chord progression on like keyboards that we had. And it was, I mean, it was really awful, but like, yeah, from there it was like, we were still like, we can't really play like the keys, but like, look, we're making this noise. and if we, you know, do this, it's kind of like a song. And then my next thing was I went to a studio, and these are like home studios, basically. Like these aren't, I'm not going into like real studios with like, you know, a bunch of producers or anything when I'm like in 6th grade. But the next time I had gone, it was like basically just a guy that had a nice home studio, and I played guitar, acoustic, badly, and I sang my original songs. And I mean, yeah, it's like I had to do the acoustic thing because that was the only thing that I had any idea how to play. People weren't like making beats heavily like they are now, where you could just like even buy a beat or something and write a song to it. And then even with like, I was in a pop punk band in high school, but after that, the kind of first iteration of Belated was just me and a friend, and we both play like acoustic. We were kind of going for like a This Wildlife or like Dashboard with two people type of vibe. And like, I don't know if I actually would have pursued an acoustic sound if it wasn't like a necessity, like if it wasn't all that I really knew. And so like, what's really exciting right now is I'm like totally comfortable, like not having people think that I'm doing the instruments on my stuff. Like, I'm very open about, like, I like working with producers. Like, I like coming in with melodies and lyrics and, just like basic stuff. And then working with people that are way more talented than I am, at playing instruments and production and just beefing a song up. And that's like really exciting right now is not having to be tethered to the acoustic guitar, because that's what I've known, It's like, it's so nice having just people to collaborate with now.
These bad thoughts won't go away. I haven't left the house in days. I checked your feet 6 times today. I can't wait to fade away. You've been on my mind all day, and that's not something I wanna say.
Can you talk about the transition from like wanting to be Jordon and a pop punk frontman to Dashboard acoustic guitar to being really a pop artist with Belated and these songs you're releasing with Common Ground?
Yeah. I mean, like in high school, I think probably even since I was a freshman, I was so certain that I was going to be a pop punk frontman and that was going to be my life, like touring.
Yeah.
And, I guess I thought maybe Warped Tour was going to be a thing forever or something. But I was just like, yeah, no, like that's going to be my career. Like in my head, I was just like, I've simply been obsessed with this music for too long. And, now that I have a band around me, I'm just like, it has to happen.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to get signed to one of these big alternative independent labels. And we tried that. This band that I kind of found a band that was already kind of together. They were kind of like post-hardcore, and they were looking for a singer. And so I joined them, and then eventually we kicked the screamer out because we were just like, we don't need two vocalists where one screams and one sings. And like we tried, we kind of made like a run at it for I think 2 or 3 years. We did an EP with Paul Levitt, who had done like All Time Low. And that's like the big one. That's the one that we were all like, oh my God, we love All Time Low. Let's work with this producer. He's done a bunch of stuff though, and we were all really excited. And we did like a couple kind of East Coast, like short runs. We didn't do any like cross country tours or anything. But we like tried it. And then eventually people started graduating college and they're like, hey, yeah, I don't think this is going to happen. I think I want a real career. And I was like the youngest in the band. So I like didn't get it at the time at all. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, we got to keep going. We're going to be big. We're going to be the next state champs. Cause like that was during that whole wave of pop punk. Like the true pop punk or whatever you want to call it, like Story So Far, State Champs, Real Friends, all those bands. So it felt like a plausible thing at that time because that was a pretty strong wave of pop punk. It really does come and go in waves, it seems like.
Yeah.
And that was a wave that we were like trying to ride for sure. But anyway, eventually the band breaks up, and I hit up a friend of mine that was in a band that we played with a lot. They were called A Collegiate Affair, and my friend's name was Tim. And I was just like, hey, I'm trying to keep making music. Basically, my band is breaking up, but like I can kind of play acoustic guitar. You know, he could play guitar, so I was like, maybe we could do like this wildlife kind of thing, you know, just like duo acoustic stuff. And we tried with that too. Like we recorded an EP with Will Beasley, who I had met recording that EP with my pop punk band actually. Like he was like working under or whatever, Paul Levitt. And we did that, and we did like a short run with this guy Chris Swartz, whose brother was in a band that my old pop punk band, you know, it all connects.
Yeah.
And that's actually how I found out about Common Ground, because the band that Chris's brother was in was called Something More. And that was one of Common Ground's like first bands. But anyway, so that eventually fizzled out too. And I'm like sitting here just going like, man, like maybe my old bandmates were right. Like maybe I need to go to college and get a degree because like maybe this is just not going to happen. You know, like the thing that I had been telling myself like since I was like 14 or whatever, like this is destined. I was starting to be like, yeah, I don't think it actually is. And so I went to school, and the whole time I had been going to school, kind of like community college. But eventually I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to like go to a 4-year and get a degree. And during that whole time, I kind of wasn't really making music. I was just like, I think like burned out and I like just felt like salty about like, you know, bands breaking up and like, you know, all the kind of potential you feel like you have, and then it's just over. And so yeah, that was one reason. And then also I was just like in a relationship that wasn't like didn't make me feel very like secure about like the music I was making. Like I just didn't feel like very supported. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm just not even good at music. Like maybe that's it. Like maybe I'm not even, you know, not supposed to do it for a career. Like maybe I'm not supposed to make it at all. And then I guess kind of fast forward a while, I graduate in 2019, like, I guess like June or something. And then by August, I moved to DC. That relationship that I was in college finally came to an end. I was like really miserable, you know, like living in this new city alone. Kind of didn't like my job like right away. And I just like, I felt like I had to start writing. Like it didn't even really feel like, you know, a choice. It's like, I'm miserable and I need some self-expression or whatever. And so I started doing that. And just on my acoustic, you know, just like the good old days. And then I played like some Battle of the Bands that I came across at American University. And it was like, if you came in first, it was like $500.
Oh, nice.
And then like they might have done like second and then like a crowd favorite. And I think for crowd favorite, I think you got like $300 or something. But anyways, like I was like, I'm gonna just try this. Like it would be pretty sweet if I could actually like make some money. And this was like the first show I had played in years, and it was like pretty rough, but I won the crowd favorite thing. And so I was like, well, that's a nice little like confidence boost. Like, you know, maybe I should do something with these songs that I'm writing. And that's kind of, I made like an announcement or something, which was kind of extra on my Instagram, just saying like, just saying like, hey, I haven't made music in like forever, but I really, really want to again. So, you know, just be on the lookout or whatever. And that's like when me and Common Ground started talking again, because we had like actually been talking back in 2016.
Oh, wow.
When that first Belated EP came out, which I don't think we have it up anywhere now. It's kind of, we're just kind of leaving that in the past. That was when I was Belated with a period at the end. And,
nice.
And this is period free Belated. But yeah, so we started talking again, and the rest all just, you know, kind of started rolling. And I had really liked Will Beasley because I had worked with him a couple times already, and he's just like a really good dude, and he's a talented musician. And so we reached out to him and set up studio time. And I think we like officially, me and Common Ground got together like December 2019. And then I didn't record these songs until like halfway through 2020. And then, you know, here we are, April 2021, and just still one single's out. So, I mean, it's been interesting to see how much like the industry has changed to like between back then when I was trying to pursue it and then now, you know, just like rollouts and everything, and like how important like pre-saves are, and like all this stuff that I kind of hadn't, you know, been thinking about at all, like for years. So that's been like cool to see. But yeah, I know the ending of your, sorry, I keep going on and on.
No.
But I know the ending of your question was, you know, basically about shifting from the alternative stuff to more like, like pop, or from band to solo pop artist. And like, honestly, it's just how my tastes have like evolved.
Yeah.
Like I definitely don't feel, you know, as angsty as I used to. So I'm not listening to as much like pop punk or post-hardcore. I listen to a lot of pop. I listen to a lot of R&B, and I listen to a lot of hip hop.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, Better Things is pretty angsty still, though. Like...
Yeah, you know, honestly, this EP, I've been like saying to myself, I hope this is the last like angsty thing I put out, because I definitely agree. This still has some angst residue on it for sure.
Yeah.
But like the stuff you
got it all out of your system, and the future will be angst free.
That's the hope, because like the stuff that I'm demoing right now is not angsty for sure. It's great. It's a lot more like confident and comfortable in my own skin, I think.
Been trying to think for myself for once lately, 'cause I've been codependent since I was 19. I took pride in trying to be what you might need. And would you just take a look at where that got me? 24 and poor on a twin mattress on the floor. Love a sad excuse for a bad room in a city where I know no one. Is it alright if my parents come collect my things? I gotta be in there, makes my stomach sink, and I'd rather get stoned alone and watch TV while trying to think of better things. I'm just trying to think of better things.
Better Things, the second single, will be out April 30th. I don't know when this podcast is dropping, so it might be out already. Who knows? Huh?
That would be sick. I'm
in
so
the future.
Excited to come out.
That song's really cool. The video's cool. I know I've listened to the whole EP. It's not announced yet, but it's there.
It is.
Well, I mean, you recorded this over 2020, I assume, well on lockdown for COVID. Like, how has COVID changed or shifted your perspective on releasing this record and what you want to do with it?
Yeah, I've been trying to think about that for myself, because I'm kind of like, do I think the EP would have already been out had COVID never happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, me and Common Ground started talking and like, you know, putting stuff together December, and then things hit in March. And so, you know, it's weird too, because in December when we were talking, I was like, I want to go tour.
Yeah.
Like I had been missing that too. And so that immediately, you know, just took that off the table. But yeah, I don't really know if, how much it changed stuff for me personally, because I was kind of a clean slate, you know.
Yeah.
I feel a lot worse for artists that had a lot of momentum going, and then this just came and, you know, messed everything up for them. So in a way, it's been kind of nice for me as like someone who's still kind of establishing themselves, like as an artist, period. Is that I've had, you know, time to think and, you know, to start writing new stuff for the next release. And, yeah, I think for me, I wouldn't say it's been like a positive, like I'm not happy that's what's happening, but I think, you know, it's given me some more time to think about the direction I want to go in and how I want to present myself and all that. So
that's cool. You mentioned wanting to tour. If you get to tour and play shows in the future, what do you envision that looking like? Like you with a guitar, or like to tracks? I don't know how you,
yeah. That's honestly something that I'm still thinking about. Like, I definitely want to not be, I don't want to like be a guitar guy anymore. Like, especially not in the sense of just like me being on stage, just me and like my acoustic. Like, I think that's over. But I've been thinking, either like a more traditional kind of live band, or, I mean, honestly, I've been kind of like influenced by like SoundCloud rappers and how they do like their live shows, where, you know, they'll have like a DJ, they'll have like kind of crazy lights. And I don't know, like that just seems like something that, I mean, it's obviously a lot more like, it's easy to transport two people and like some laptops and stuff than it is to a whole band. And then, you know, when you're like, when you have to like pay your band, you know, so like there's different things to consider for sure. But I don't know, like I still don't feel like shows, well, some shows are happening now, kind of more outdoor ones, but I feel like it still might be a little ways before like people are actually like, you know, going out and doing full on tours. Yeah, time for sure. Any themes on this EP? Definitely. Heartbreak, depression, loneliness, insecurity. I'd say that's like a good, good summing up. A cocktail of positivity. Yeah. No, I mean, you know, I was going through some shit, and like writing songs has always been the best form of therapy for me, aside from actual therapy. And so, it was just me getting everything out. And like I said, I hope my angst phase is done. I think, you know, I'm growing out of it. So it's tough when you don't have like bandmates to bounce songs off of. And so, you know, sometimes I'll just like send a song to my friend and be like, what do you think of this? But, you know, sometimes like they're not even making music themselves, so it's just like, oh yeah, sure, like it's good or whatever. But no, honestly, I'm just really excited for it to come out and to hear what people say, and I hope that I'm able to put out something else, you know, relatively soon after this EP, because I'm already, you know, looking forward to that next thing. I've been codependent since I was 19. Just take a look at where that got me. While trying to think of better things, I'm just trying to think of better things. I'm just trying to think of better things.
better things. I'm just trying to think of better things.
Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. Our theme song was written and composed by the legendary Bob Nana. If you like what you hear, subscribe on iTunes and give the show a rating and review. If you'd like to support the show financially, click on the Patreon link at asthestorygrows.com. If you enjoyed this episode, share it on social media with your friends. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.